Kakarot is finally reunited with the Saiyans, but they still have a long way to go before they defeat Frieza. So what's Kakarot going to get up to with this group now? We'll cover all that and more in this third part of What If the Red Ribbon Army Raised Kakarot. The Saiyans are all on their own now, at some point finding their own planet to take over and using that as their home base. It makes Kakarot really glad that he got found. He finally gets to let loose. Be a true warrior like he was destined to be. Not to mention, he puts his assassin techniques to really good use too. They come to learn that even though he's a low-class Saiyan, as a warrior, technically he's really great. His technical skill might even be above Vegeta's. He's just all around a really great martial artist and fighter in general. Kakarot likes these three. They're a lot like him, especially his brother. And even though they had their qualms with him at first, Vegeta and Nappa are warming up to Kakarot. Rad has pretty much liked him right off the bat. About a year passes. At some point the Ginyu Force locates them. Frieza has sent them out to find the Saiyans, and he offered them a really nice payment if they found them. A year back, the Saiyans would have been worried about fighting the Ginyu Force. They probably wouldn't have been able to handle it. But now, this is going to be a really good test for them. The four Saiyans go to war against the Ginyu Force. And it is a pretty tough fought battle, but they come out on top. And at this point, it's clear Kakarot is actually the strongest in the crew right now. Vegeta refers to him as their secret weapon. A low-class warrior is completely unassuming. But with him being an android, it makes him really strong. At least in Vegeta's eyes. He is a bit annoyed that a low-class warrior surpassed him, but it's gotta be because of that android stuff, right? Little does he know it's mostly because of Kakarot's work ethic. But yes, being an android partially does buff him. To a good degree, in fact. But only a small percentage of him is cyborg, so Vegeta hasn't considered that. Let's go back over to Earth right now. Again, about a year has passed since Kakarot left. And we'll move forward a few months after that, too. With that time passing after the Ginyu Force is defeated. Krillin is currently not on Earth. He's training with King Kai at the moment. But some of the other people are on Earth. There are a couple strong powers that arrive, with one in particular being really strong. And Tao's one of the people that feels this presence. He seeks it out, and finds a really strong warrior that he assumes is Piccolo. But on a closer look, he sees that there's multiple green people here. Oh, that must be a whole species of demons then. Great, he's gonna have to fight more demons, but whatever. He can finally get his revenge. What he doesn't realize is that this isn't Piccolo. This is actually Nail, alongside Dende and some other Namekians. They've come to Earth looking for help. Nail encounters Tao, Android 8, and somebody else. A guy going by the name of General Blue. He miraculously survived the attack on the Red Ribbon Army, or I guess the Black Ribbon Army in that case. And he went into hiding right away, not realizing that others from the Red Ribbon Army were out there. He's not an android or anything, he's just its regular self. He plans on actually making his own army and hired Tao to get the Dragon Balls for him, plus Android 8's working alongside them too. But now they're fighting these Namekians here, particularly Nail. And Tao thinks he has the strength to take this guy on. If he's as strong as Piccolo, then it shouldn't be too big of an issue. And Nail is really powerful, but Tao has grown a lot stronger in the meantime too. It takes a lot of effort, but he's actually able to beat Nail in this fight. Until another Namekian shows up. This time it's actually Piccolo. With a single punch, he sends Tao flying far away. Android 8 and Blue go to chase after him. Alongside Piccolo, Tien shows up too. The two of them were actually training together in the meantime. By now, Piccolo's kind of warmed up to the group a bit, even though he still keeps to himself and is pretty secluded. But he at least trains with them from time to time, knowing it can make him stronger. Anyways, he's pretty surprised to see this. Like, he obviously knows he's a Namekian, although it is really weird to see Nail because he looks really similar to Piccolo. Anyways, they ask why the Namekians are here, and they actually recognize Tien because he did go to Namek. They had come here for the Dragon Balls, just like the Earthlings did not too long ago. Something's gone wrong on Namek. A powerful entity came there not too long ago, getting the Dragon Balls for himself. Oddly enough, only making one wish, not wishing for anything beyond that. But he immediately destroyed Purunga after the fact, and then slaughtered most of the Namekians. The Namekians here on Earth right now are the only ones left alive. They're trying to summon Shenron to revive the other Namekians that have been killed. And yeah, Tien would be glad to help, so they go search for the Dragon Balls with Piccolo tagging along too. And Kami offers his assistance as well. The Namekians help them after all, and of course that is their home planet. But along the way they learn of what actually happened to Namek. At first Tien thinks that Kakarot might have showed up there, but no, it wasn't anything to do with the Saiyans, nor was it Frieza. It was actually another Namekian that came there. They gather the Dragon Balls, summon Shenron, and revive all the Namekians. Now they'll be able to bring Purunga back, and they'll just move their planet to be sure it's safe. But they explain more about what happened. There was an evil Namekian that came by. A super Namekian, in fact. It intrigues Piccolo to hear this. A super Namekian? They learn the history behind what a super Namekian is, and this one in particular. He's grown old and he's become a nomad, but he wanted eternal youth, kinda similar to the previous Piccolo. But this guy was way more threatening. He traveled around different planets, and now he's doing the same thing again, pillaging them. Especially because he's achieved his goal. He's got an eternal youth. This Namekian's name is Slug. They have no clue where he plans on going next, but he might come back to Namek, so that's why they're going to move it once they're back. Let's go back out in space. As Kakarot and his crew are training even further, he senses a strong power approaching the planet. The other Saiyans have learned to sense ki by now too, no longer needing to rely on scouters. although of course Kakarot does basically have a scouter built into him. But I digress. This power is really strange. It's definitely not Frieza. They at least know what his ki feels like because Kakarot sensed it before. But this guy feels almost as powerful as Frieza, maybe even a little bit above him. They don't know the true extent of Frieza's power though. But amidst his conquest, Lord Slug arrives on the planet that the Saiyans are on, purely by coincidence. He thought this planet would be nice to take over, especially because he and his crew felt some really strong powers on here. The Saiyans take down his crew pretty quickly, but then they face Lord Slug himself, who already has become young. He could have wished for more from Piranga. He even considered wishing for immortality. But all he really needed was his youth, and to destroy the Dragon Balls just so no one could contest him. Slug is an Namekian of pure evil after all, and he looks to take over the entire universe. In a way, he's pretty similar to Frieza, but they've never seen this guy before or heard of him. It's weird because Kakarot did encounter an evil Namekian on Earth. By now they've heard about King Piccolo and Piccolo Jr. But Kakarot's also learned of what the Namekians are truly like now because after explaining this to Raditz, Vegeta, and Nappa, they told him that it's weird because Namekians are normally pacifist. This guy definitely isn't though. Slug thinks this will be a nice challenge for him. Of course he wants to take over this planet regardless, and on top of that, he would have had to fight these Saiyans eventually knowing that they could be threats to him in the future. What better way to test his returned youth than fight them? Vegeta is the first one to go up against him. And while Slug is suppressed, Vegeta contends with him pretty well, but Slug then shows off his true power, and Vegeta's no challenge for him. The four Saiyans combine their effort together. Normally they would like to fight alone, but as Slug gets serious, things start to get increasingly desperate. The four of them all gang up on him, and even with this combined effort, he's far too powerful for them. Slug is loving this. He eventually will have to fight Frieza too, but he's confident that he could beat Frieza. And based on how this battle's going, the Saiyans feel like this guy might even be stronger than Frieza. Not that they've seen his true power, but at his full strength, Slug right now is actually equivalent to where Frieza would be, if not beyond that. But the only way he'll find that out is if he actually fights Frieza. He's not too sure himself. The Saiyans are completely unprepared for this. They expected to fight Frieza eventually and knew that they'd have to face him at his full power, but this is really different. Even when they're great apes, the Saiyans still aren't really doing too well. They have grown pretty strong though. Raditz and Nappa have 6-digit power levels. They haven't really measured it recently though, so they don't know the true extent of it, while Vegeta and Kakarot have surpassed 1 million a while back. But even as great apes, it seems like they don't stand a chance against Lord Slug. One by one, they get picked off. And given the fact that they're weaker, Nappa and Raditz have a really tough time. Lord Slug launches a mouth beam at Nappa at first, completely incinerating him, killing the Saiyan without much effort. The remaining 3 Saiyans go on defense, realizing that they're probably going to suffer the same fate. But not too long after Nappa's death, Raditz is next to fall. Slug actually grabs onto his tail directly, ripping it clean off, and then stomping on him. Growing large as he does so because of course, since he's fighting great apes, he had to grow in size too. Not that it increased his strength or anything, but it made it pretty easy for him to squish Raditz under his foot. Vegeta and Kakarot are left speechless. Is this where they die? Against a random opponent they didn't even prepare for? A Namekian of all people? Vegeta can't believe it. After all they trained for, this is where it ends. And as for Kakarot, to think, he's falling to someone just like Piccolo. He's already failed before, and look around him. He finally got to meet the Saiyans again, living the way he wanted to. And as a Saiyan, naturally he isn't really very close with people, but he does have some sort of fondness for Raditz, kind of like he does with Tao. Raditz was the one who finally took him away from Earth, and shared some similarities as a low-class warrior and his brother. If there's one thing Kakarot hates more than anything, it's weakness. He's grown so used to being strong, and that worldview was shattered when he fought against Piccolo for the first time, being easily defeated by him. And now, once more, he fights an evil Namekian, one who's too strong to be toppled. He didn't even get to accomplish the goal of defeating Frieza, the thing he's been training for the past year. Has everything been for nothing? Are these 2 the last Saiyans left? And will Kakarot ever get to see anything again? While he didn't really enjoy Earth too much, he still did want to go back one day. After all, he promised Tao another fight. Plus, he knows he has some pretty interesting opponents there. Not to mention, he wants to fight Frieza. And now, his brother's gone, as well as Nappa who he's grown to know. He feels a weird surge of emotions, and suddenly, his power flares up significantly. Due to anger, but mostly due to sheer determination, Kakarot has a newfound confidence. He's not going to fall here. His aura explodes, turning into a golden color, as his hair then stands up and turns golden, with his eyes changing color too. Vegeta's caught by surprise and Slug doesn't know what to think of this either, but in their minds they're both thinking the same thing. Vegeta and Slug, even with their different backgrounds, both know about the legend of the Super Saiyan. Slug's heard legends about this, but they were just that, legends. But he guesses if the Super Namekians are real, it makes sense that the Super Saiyans are too. And Vegeta's completely dumbfounded, to think he's been surpassed once more, in a completely different way. After assuming this form, Kakarot instantly goes in for the kill. At full speed, he flies right through Lord Slug's chest. Slug then shrinks down trying to regenerate, but it's already too late. Mid-air, Kakarot is spun around, launching a technique that he never really used before. It's one Tao's brother knew, and one I'd assume Tao could teach Kakarot as well. Forming his hands into a diamond, Kakarot launches a powerful Kikoho, significantly boosting his power and easily eradicating Lord Slug. Kakarot then floats down to the ground, de-transforming, amazed at the fact that he's become a Super Saiyan. And Vegeta's really happy to see this, congratulating Kakarot. Well done. But now that it's just him and Vegeta, Vegeta says they should immediately go to fight Frieza. If it's true that Slug really is stronger than Frieza, they'll have no issue fighting him with a Super Saiyan on their side. Kakarot wants to bring Raditz and Nappa along first, and Vegeta's confused on what he means. They're dead. Well, maybe not permanently. They have Dragon Balls back on Earth, and they could use those to revive them. Honestly, Vegeta doesn't really care about that. He'd rather just go and kill Frieza right now. King Cold too while they're at it. But Kakarot wants to bring the others back first. Of course, they would want to witness this fight. Besides, it's not like he wants to bring back all the Saiyans at once. He only really wants to see those two again. It would be a shame if they didn't get to witness Frieza's defeat, especially with it only being a few weeks off at most. Kakarot isn't completely ruthless. While he is definitely evil, he at least does hold respect for others like Tao and Raditz. And despite Tao's evil nature, as well as the Red Ribbon Army, still, Kakarot did grow up on Earth where connections like these are more common, even if you are evil. So while most Saiyans probably wouldn't be able to connect with other people as easily, I feel Kakarot could to some extent, even if it's not the same as normal Earthlings. Particularly, he's mostly focused on bringing Raditz back. He owes it to him, after all. Vegeta begrudgingly goes along with this because, well, he could use the Dragon Balls for himself. He'll just steal the wish and become immortal. Who cares about reviving those two? Kakarot and Vegeta heal up, growing stronger from this. And as they depart their planet, Frieza makes his move on the Saiyans. Of course, thanks to the Guinea Force he's known about them. And he has monitored Lord Slug. His scouts found Lord Slug out in space, and Slug didn't bother him yet, so he didn't bother Slug. Although, he knew he'd have to fight Slug eventually. And seeing Slug go after the Saiyans, he just let him do that. But knowing the Saiyans defeated him makes Frieza a little bit worried. He never got to see how strong Slug truly was. Frieza would assume Slug's weaker than him, but Slug's actually a little stronger than he is. Either way, this does worry Frieza a bit. How did the Saiyans grow so strong? Surely it must have been a fluke. Either way, he's gonna have to deal with things himself. The Saiyans head out to Earth, and not too far behind them, Frieza heads out to find the Saiyans. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's gonna happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.